So I heard this comic book was being turned into a movie, and I didn't watch the movie. I just read the comic book, and yikes. Set in the 1920s, Batman investigates Lovecraftian horrors as Talia al Ghul resurrects her father to appease some cosmic tentacle gods. You would think, given the creative team behind this would be an instant classic. However, given it's only 3 chapters long, it comes across as a pitch deck for a movie rather than a comic book. So I haven't watched the movie yet, but I think that inherently by turning it into a movie, it's an improvement on the story, given that it's able to flesh out some of the plot points more, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, there isn't much about this premise that I don't like. I love the idea of Batman unraveling some Lovecraftian horrors, and I really enjoy what they did with some of the iconic villains. We see the rise and fall of Harvey Dent, Mr. Freeze become the Tentacle God's familiar, Poison Ivy is actually born from his corpse, and the Penguin becomes, well, a penguin. The beginning where we discover what happened to the Penguin is actually super rad. Batman is investigating the Antarctic in search for the Penguin and his shipmates, finds his journal that accounts the crew's descent into madness. It's honestly the best part of the book, and in part it's because it really takes its time to tell the story. This book mega suffers from its short length. It was like the creators had a list of things that needed to happen, and they just sped through all of those things just to get to the ending. Between Harvey being elected as mayor, to him becoming Two-Face, to him becoming a portal for the Tentacle God, it felt like 4 pages. It leaves a lot to be desired. They had some good moments in there, but I'd have liked to see those moments last just a little bit longer. Other than that, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd are basically useless. Biggest waste of those characters that I've ever read. But I did like what they did with Tim Drake. They actually gave him character development and agency, whereas Dick and Jason are just there to die. In that regard, it's pretty disappointing. And it doesn't help that the artwork doesn't really do the story justice. I often felt like I was getting some of the characters confused because they all look alike, and the geography of each scene wasn't established well enough. There were a couple of times I was surprised when a character just pops up in a scene and was like, oh, he was there the whole time. Now, I don't rate stuff that I review. I think that's sort of unfair to art, but after reading this, my very first thought about this book was a pretty strong 3 out of 5. It has a cool premise, but I think the execution wasn't as strong as it could have been. Despite the book not really resonating with me, I'm still open to seeing the movie and seeing what they do with this really cool premise in the source material. If a cosmic horror Batman story written by Mike Mignola sounds really good to you, then probably this book might be for you. However, if you're indifferent on that idea, I'd say you could probably pass on it. But if you did already read this book, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I would love to chit chat about it. And also, let me know if you have seen the movie or if you're excited to see the movie. Either way, I hope you have a great day.